going on, YouTube? So today we are here to do a walk around video of my truck. Not super, not anything I would consider super crazy, just gonna be a big part of the channel. It's a tow rig, overland rig, kind of everything in between rig. And I just wanna kind of go over what I've done to the truck, what I plan to do to the truck, and what I carry and why I consider it to be an awesome all-around overland tow, little bit of everything vehicle. And I'm also going to go over why I chose this versus something else, i.e. a Tacoma or a Tundra or a Ram or, you know, etc. So to start off, it's a 2020 F-150 XLT. I actually have a reason for why I went with an XLT and not a Lariat or a Platinum or an STX, I think is the lower, the XL. Anyway, why I went with the XLT versus some of the other trim packages. So 2020 F-150 XLT, it is a Super Crew with the long bed. It's a 6.5 foot bed, so it's still really a short bed in my opinion. But you know, for a half-ton truck, it works pretty good without being super long like an F-250 or an F-350. 3.5 liter EcoBoost FX4 package. It's got some cool features that you don't typically see on XLTs very often, such as like a sunroof. It's got the center console shift versus the column shift. A few other little things that make it a little bit nicer than just your standard run-of-the-mill XL or something of that nature. So with that being said, we're going to get into what I have done and what I plan to do and just get rolling with that. So gonna start with the wheel tire combo because that's the most obvious, I think. So Method NV in 17 by 8.5, 0mm offset. The tires are a 315/70 R17 BFG all-terrain KO2. So the reason that I went with this wheel tire package is Methods, I think, make a really good utilitarian style wheel for a pretty affordable price. Zero complaints. They're awesome. They look really nice without being too flashy. And they also offer a little bit of extra, I guess, support or strength with the faux beadlock ring, excuse me, that you see around. It just helps, you know, a little bit of a peace of mind without going to a true beadlock wheel, especially when you're riding on the road as much as we ride on the road with this thing. Now the tire it's kind of one of those things where you either love it or you hate it. Personally, I love it. I think that they're very tried and true. Lots of grip. I've never had any issues with them. They do awesome in the snow. And again, that's more of a personal opinion. They just really work for me, and so I've never had any reason to not go with those. We'll kind of stay with the wheel tire suspension-ish type deal. So up in the front, it's pretty stock. The only thing that's really done to it is it's got Bilstein 6112s in the front with their springs set at max height. Grim off-road, super dirty. I never wash this thing. Grim off-road upper control arm uniball. Now, when I first got these on, they weren't quite big enough. So I actually set them at max height, and then I doubled that up with an 1.5 inch lift spacer, or puck, if you want to call it that. And so essentially, I think that the 6112s give you a 2.1 inches of lift on top of the 1.5 inch. So if my math is right, I don't 100% know this for certain, but roughly 3.5, 3.6 inches of front lift. A lot of people are going to say, oh, that's way too much. Your CV angles are crazy. And you're right. My CV angles are pretty crazy. With that being said, knock on wood, I have never broken one, and I've put a lot of four-wheel drive miles on this thing. So no complaints with that whatsoever. It rides so much better than stock. It's an awesome setup for the money without going to a true coilover. And a lot of this truck was based loosely on budget, also on what I read for a good all-around suspension package. And again, super happy with the outcome. It rides awesome, does awesome off-road, no complaints whatsoever. So we'll move from there into some of the other obvious stuff, I guess. So I'm just gonna go straight up here into move to the other side of the truck here. Actually, we're gonna go to the front end. I think that's probably a better bet. So on the front, we have your standard XLT grill, sport package grill. Now my truck's a little bit unique in the sense that I actually have a winch on a 3.5 liter EcoBoost. Now, if you know anything about these trucks, you'll know that the intercooler typically sits right behind this plate here, in between the frame rails. And so what you have to do is you have to get a intercooler relocation kit. And so you can kind of see it behind the grill there. That's actually my intercooler that got remounted up behind the grill. And this does a couple things. One, way better cooling, because you're getting a lot more airflow through there. It's a lot bigger surface area, just works all around better. You don't get condensation issues. It eliminates a lot of issues. The second most important thing for me was it allows me to run the rough country hidden winch mount. So super awesome kit. It belts right up behind the bumper and has well, it allows you to retain the stock bumper. And for me, there's not a whole lot of aftermarket bumpers that I think look really good with this truck. They just don't. They make it look like it has a big overbite, and I'm not a big fan of that. I like to retain the stock-ish look on the truck, and this winch plate allows you to do that. Now, of course, if I had like a 5 liter or a naturally aspirated engine, I wouldn't have to run the intercooler, but it's just the price you pay when you have the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. So the intercooler is a full race intercooler, by the way. I'm pretty happy with the kit. The fitment was, I would give it a 6 out of 10, I guess. Here we just have some simple rough country slim LED lights. Actually super happy with this kit as well. And the reason is because it mounts to factory locations. The whole install took 10 minutes. Comes fully wired, so all you do is just plug it in, weatherproof connectors. Super awesome kit for the money. I think it was like 160 bucks for both lights, the whole wiring kit, the brackets, the whole shebang. It was well worth the money. They're really bright for what they are, and they just fill that gap, just make it look a little bit cleaner and offer some more light, which, you know, is never a bad thing. So the winch itself is and you can't see it, I'm sure, but yeah, it's a Smitty built 12K X2O waterproof wireless winch. Winch, not winch. And why I went with that winch is 1, price, 2, the waterproof of it, 3, came loaded with a synthetic cable, 12,000 pounds. You're able to take the control box and mount it elsewhere if you need to, right? You don't have to mount it. It's not a designated mounting spot, so it gives you a little bit of maneuverability on how you mount it if you're, you know, a little bit short on space, which I am with how this has to be set up. Just their stock aluminum fairlead that comes with that winch. Now they also offer a cable when you buy the kit, so in case your battery dies or something goes wrong, you can plug a cable into it and go the tried and true method. I did get rid of the stock hook because it's just cast, it's not very good, I don't really trust it, and I went with a Factor 55 flat link in orange. Super happy with this. You hook a shackle up to it, you hook a hook through it, you know, it's awesome. I really like it. Really happy with their product. Definitely recommend to anybody that might be thinking about getting one. Moving over here into the fog lights, since we're already on the front end. These are the Diode Dynamics fogs in amber. Now the reason I went with amber is because they do a lot better in dust, snow. You don't get the refraction of light back at you like you do with a white LED, which isn't always an issue, but depending on the conditions and what you're driving in mostly, it can be an issue. These are awesome. They look OEM, they mount into the OEM location, they plug up to the OEM harness, so it's a plug and play deal. It took 5 minutes to install them. Well worth the money. They're SAE, they're I have nothing but good things to say about these. If you have any doubts, definitely hit up Diode Dynamics, because they make a killer light. I have been really pleased with their product. Just stock lights, because I'm all about function over form. So they do just fine for me. I do have LED bulbs in them. They are adjusted down to adjust for the lift of my truck, so I'm not blinding people, because, you know, nobody likes that. That's pretty much it for the front end. Stock tow hooks, stock grill, all that other good stuff. Moving up onto the hood here, I have these A-pillar lights, or hood lights depending on who you ask. Again, Diode Dynamics amber 3-inch pods, and same thing. I mean, nothing but good things to say about them. They act as my ditch lights. They offer me a lot of they just offer a whole lot of light in the area that you kind of right in front of your A-pillar. It's just an area that gets overlooked quite a bit when you have lights. It's not an easily visible area to begin with, and so it's nice to be able to shine light and see things. You're able to see animals and obstacles and all sorts of stuff. So definitely a good investment if you plan on doing a lot of off-road or off-trail or soft road or overlanding type stuff. But only if you use them, right? Because nothing's worth it if you just put it on there for looks. So everything on this truck is functional and gets used on a very regular basis. And the mounts for those, they're just Amazon brackets, I believe, because they all do the same thing. So I'm all about saving money where I can and spending money on the things that matter, like lighting and wheels and tires and suspension, that type of stuff. Moving up to the rack. So nothing too fancy with the rack, just a Rhino rack system. Super easy install. It's got their arrow bars on it. Now this kit is for the F-150. Excuse me. The rack itself, this basket, is just Amazon, again, special, because as far as I'm concerned, they all do the same thing. So I'm not all about spending, you know, $500, $600, $700 on a rack that's just going to hold my other stuff. I have 4 traction boards here. So again, and you're going to see a lot of the same type of stuff. When there's certain things that you want to spend money on, there's other things that you might be able to save a little bit of money on. These traction boards are no exception. Amazon special, they were $65 for a pair. I got 2 of them. You got 4 wheels, you want 4 traction boards. I was skeptical on these at first when I first ordered them. I always thought that when I seen them on vehicles, they were just for looks. You know, they gave that overlanding vibe. But these have saved my butt more times than I can count, and other people. They will get you out of situations where you might not have something to winch to, or you're just like, oh man, I'm spinning a wheel in sand. So many situations where you can't use a winch, or you don't have another vehicle, or whatever it is, right? And the traction boards are absolute lifesavers. Definitely recommend them. Nothing but good things to say about them. These Amazon ones have been holding up really good. I've used them at least 10 times, I mean easily, and this truck weighs 7,500 pounds, so no complaints whatsoever. Definitely a big fan of those. Any traction board really, I'm sure. Max Tracks are just as good. I just myself, I couldn't justify spending $300 on some plastic, and so that's why I went with, you know, a little bit cheaper option, because ultimately I could buy 4 for half the price of 1 set, and so it just logically it made sense to me. And if you like Max Tracks, more power to you. I have not here to bash any product. I'm just here to tell you what I use, why I use it, and to give a recommendation kind of based on my experience with that product. So moving over to the other side, so I do actually have 2 deals up here on my rack. It just so happens to work out that I'm able to fit a basket next to a cargo box. Now this is a Thule XL Slim cargo box, and again, it's really nice. It keeps things dry. It's extra storage. Keeps it out of the cab. I do have 2 kids, a dog, so it's really nice to be able to throw stuff up there, not think about it, not worry about it getting wet, things like that. So really good box. I think it was like $380 or $400, something like that. So no complaints. It's pretty self-explanatory. It opens from both sides, so that's cool. And yes, I do have plenty of room to open it completely with the rack being where it is. I get that question quite a bit, actually. So the rest of the truck is actually fairly stock. So I have just the OEM running boards on here right now. This sweet step back here is awesome. Allows you to get into the bed, where we'll get to here in just a couple minutes. But yeah, I love this step. I'm actually really upset because I currently am waiting on a set of rock sliders for my truck. So the OEM running boards, they just mount to the pinch bolts, or the pinch welds, excuse me, on the cab itself, and so they don't offer a whole lot of support when you're off-roading or going up against trees or rocks or whatever it may be. They're easily bent, and they scratch. Well, not scratch. Not really a big. Don't really care if I get scratches too much. I don't do it on purpose, but you know, it's a off-road type vehicle, so it's going to happen. But anyway, they just don't offer a whole lot of support for any of the body panels. So I do have a custom set because nobody really makes an affordable set of bolt-on or weld-on rock sliders for the F series truck. So it's definitely a lack of product in the market. But those will hopefully be here in the next few weeks, and you know, so we'll get those put on there. So I'm gonna end up losing my rear step there, which is a bummer, and it'll be replaced with some 1 3/4 DOM tubing and with a bump out. So it's actually gonna be pretty cool, very functional. And again, I'm all about function over form on this rig. If it happens to look good while you're doing it, awesome. But as long as it functions, that's more so what I care about. So I'll move on to the backs, or the rear suspension. So pretty standard setup here. We got Bilstein remote reservoir 5160s. Now if you know anything about the F1 series platform, you know that the stock suspension, they bump a lot, they ride really rough, the back end really likes to wash out going on like forest service roads and stuff, and these eliminate all that. It's amazing. Now I do also have a set of Deaver Adeleafs on here. So it's this third spring here, or second spring up from the bottom, third spring down from the top. Focus in on that. Oh, there we go. Just adds about 1.5 inches. Also helps with towing capacity, especially when you load the truck down with camping gear or whatever you may have in here. So it definitely helps there. Rear tire is obviously the same. Now the back of the truck is pretty standard. I do have a trash bag that I picked up from Lolo Overland. Super awesome company based out of I want to say Gresham. You guys might be able to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think this is a Gresham company called Lolo Overland. Nothing but good things to say about them. No affiliation with them whatsoever. I'm just really happy. Their customer service is awesome. Their prices are awesome. If you guys are in the Gresham, Vancouver, Portland, that area of the Pacific Northwest, definitely check them out. They are, again, amazing people. Now this is made out of like a synthetic material. It's waterproof and rip resistant, so super cool. It won't smell if you use it, because that's kind of one of my big pet peeves is trash on the trail. And so we always pick up as much as we find, pack out what you pack in type deal, and plus some. So I'm huge advocate for keeping everything clean. I'm gonna move into the bed area now, and then I'll show you guys my engine bay setup, which is 100% stock except for just one little treasure in there. So we'll move into the back. Disregard my camping chair. Now these here are Built Right Moly panels with their quick fist mounts, stainless steel mounts, super high quality stuff. Awesome product that they make. I'm really happy with their stuff. And so it's all 4 sides on that. So I got my high lift mounted over there. This is typically where I put a 5-pound propane bottle for my heater and my stove. And then all these other quick fists are typically loaded with stuff depending on where I'm going. If I'm camping, the problem is that you'll notice that there is no bed rack, there is nothing on the bed, and so I have no security for any of this stuff. So it's kind of that, and it's not weatherproof. Not weatherproof yet, because I'm actually going on week 15 and waiting for my canopy. So there will be a canopy on here, but we'll do another video on that when it finally gets here. So hopefully next week. We'll see. It's been 15 weeks since I ordered it, so you know, what's another couple weeks, right? But this is kind of the stuff that I carry on a very regular basis, and again, this is very very slim compared to what I normally carry. I got a shovel and axe, a little saw up there, a little hand saw. I got my high lift, and then this is my air hose for my compressor. It's an ARB air hose, pretty nice. It sits right there. It's winds up really small. It reaches all 4 corners of my truck, no issues. So that's awesome. Alrighty, so here we have an ARB single heavy-duty air compressor. I have it mounted over here, kind of next to my brake booster, brake master cylinder, that type of stuff. It's right behind my airbox. It's kind of the only place in this engine bay that I could fit. I would love to have a dual. Unfortunately, with keeping it in the engine bay like I'd like to, it just doesn't fit anywhere else going any bigger. So again, pretty self-explanatory. It's an onboard air compressor, so I use it to fill up my tires after I air down when we come off a trail. You don't really want to ride on the road with, you know, 15 psi or less. You want to air back up to 32, 35, whatever you're running in your tires. And this thing is awesome. For being as small and compact as it is, I can fill up from 12 psi to 37 psi in roughly 2 minutes per tire, and for me that's amazing. I mean, I have no complaints about that. For as small as it is, I think it does awesome. And you know, you can use it to power other stuff. You can use it to pressurize a shower. You can use it for all sorts of stuff, you know, blow up air mattresses, or blow up a ball if you got, you know, if you got kids. I mean, hey, why not? So super cool standalone little unit. It's wired into my switch panel that I'll get to here in just a second. But again, pretty self-explanatory, nothing too crazy with that. The rest of the engine bay is just stock, nothing too fancy there, because you know, the less stuff you have done as far as performance, as far as I'm concerned, the less problems you might have on the trail when you start messing with other stuff like that. So in here, nothing too crazy. Some Carhartt seat covers, because I do have cloth seats. So, you know, that's definitely a seat saver anyway, especially when you have a dog like myself. So coming up here, we have a another product from Built Right. This is a Built Right dash panel. I do have the support underneath of that, super easy install. RAM mount for my phone, super strong. And then this here, oh, my wife's got something hanging above our mirror. Let me get that out of the way. And then my switch panel here. Now, this isn't completely filled up yet. I'm still waiting on a few things, but I got my hood lights, my A-pillar lights. I will eventually have rear flush mounted lights on my bumper, those grill lights that I showed you guys earlier, and then my air compressor. So, yep, there's that. You probably heard it going off there in a second. Other than that, pretty stock interior, nothing too crazy. It does have the pano sunroof, which, you know, good or bad. Some people love them, some people hate them. It is what it is. It's really nice. You get a lot of visibility. You know, it's a cool feature to have. I mean, why not, right? Moving into the back, this thing is super dirty. That's what happens when you have kids. My super quick rip away first aid kit. It's just got all the basics in there, you know, quick clot and splints and bandages and that type of stuff, gauze. Very run-of-the-mill type first aid kit just for that type of stuff. It's nice, it's quick. You have an emergency, you rip it off and you go get to whatever you need to get to. Same thing back here. Carhartt seat covers to protect from the kids and the dog. And that's kind of it for that aspect. I do have a fire extinguisher in here as well, mounted underneath this seat here. It's quick release, so super easy to get to. It's quick. I usually carry one outside in the bed with me as well, just, you know, for any fire that I might not be able to get to super quick with the one that's mounted inside the truck. But, you know, knock on wood, hopefully that never happens and I never have to use it. I do check it on a regular basis. Same thing with my first aid kit. It gets checked on a regular basis to make sure I'm not missing anything. But overall, that is kind of where the truck is right now. So that's kind of the walk around of it. So now I'm going to get into a couple things. One, why I chose this truck versus something else, and two, you guys might have noticed that there is absolutely nothing over the bed. Like, it's completely empty, and I mentioned a canopy earlier, so yeah, that is kind of the plan. I ordered an ARE MX high-rise canopy for the truck from a dealership. It will have wind doors on the side, so I'm able to open them up here and access the bed through the side of the canopy. They lock, obviously. It's a little bit higher, so I'm able to get, you know, some headroom in there, which is nice. And then it'll also have a rack on top of it where I'm gonna put probably kayak mounts. Which probably leads to another question that I'm sure you guys have is, what do I do as far as actual sleeping? So I don't want to give away the surprise, because I do have some pretty cool stuff happening here in the next couple weeks that I'm really hoping you guys want to stick around and see. So I'm not going to tell you where and how or why I do what I do as far as camping goes with a tent and that type of stuff, just because I'm going to be answering that here in an upcoming video, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Just got to work out a few things logistically, and I'll be starting in on that. But that's going to be super, super exciting, and it'll answer a lot of the questions that you guys might have as far as that stuff goes. So stay tuned for that for sure. But now we're going to get into why I chose this truck versus other trucks, and what I do like about it, what I don't like about it, and go from there. So the reason I chose the truck is because I have 2 kids, I have a dog, I do tow stuff fairly often, and I needed something that was a little bit bigger than, say, a Tacoma or an FJ Cruiser or something of that nature. And I'm not a brand loyal person. I think that Dodge and Ford and Chevy and the Tundra and all those all have their pluses and their minuses. With that being said, I think that for the price and the options that I was able to get with this truck versus some other companies, I feel pretty confident about it. The 3.5 is an awesome motor. It's plenty of power. Have no issues with it. Factory locker. 4-wheel drive is awesome. The pano sunroof is a huge plus, and just everything about it, it fits me really well. It fits our family really well. The Tacoma, amazing truck. No complaints about the Tacomas whatsoever, except for the size. For us, my family, we just don't fit, unfortunately. There's just not enough room. When you start adding winches and lift and tires and things like that, you start to notice a big decrease in power. You have to be very weight conscientious with a Tacoma versus my truck, where it doesn't really matter all that much. You're able to kind of just throw some stuff in there and you're probably going to be good to go. Not really going to notice a whole lot of weight, engine or performance loss, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of why I chose the truck. Now, my biggest complaints with the truck are the fairly obvious stuff. One, it's a big truck, right? It's long. It's got the wheelbase on this thing is just ridiculous, right? So I think it's 165 inches is what the wheelbase is on the truck. So in order to account for the longer wheelbase, you have to go up a little bit higher. And I'm not a big fan of like a true lift kit, so I'm kind of limited with as high up as I can go. So there's that. 2, the turning radius of this thing is probably about as probably bigger than that truck right there. So that kind of sucks, especially when you get into some tighter trails. So there are definitely some places where I probably can't go strictly because of the size. With that being said, it's not a rock crawler. It's an overlanding type off-road camping tow vehicle. So I'm okay with that. That's a compromise that I was willing to make for all the other benefits that I just mentioned. So that's kind of the pluses and negatives and why I chose it versus something else, which kind of wraps up the walk around of the truck. Now, this truck is always changing. There's a lot of stuff that I'm still waiting on, a lot of stuff I still plan on doing to the truck. But again, I'm not trying to do a build series video, which is why you guys haven't seen me installing any of this stuff. Strictly just a walk around on what I use, what I don't use type thing, because again, I just think that there's a lot of build videos out there. It's a little bit oversaturated, and I don't think that anybody needs to see somebody build another F-150. You know, it's just my opinion about it, so hopefully you guys agree. But if not, feel free to leave it in the comments. Okay. So now we're going to get into why I'm sure you guys are all here, which is the giveaway that I'm doing. So I plan on, well, I don't plan on doing it, I am going to do it. I'm going to do a giveaway of a set of Oracle 8 LED, or excuse me, 8 Oracle LED rock lights. No affiliation with the company whatsoever. I think they make a really good product. They're waterproof. I'm just going to show you guys the kit because that'll explain it all. Again, no affiliation. I bought this kit for the truck, and unfortunately, the truck is just too long for them to fit, and I don't want to wire stuff into the cab. So they're just not going to work for me. They're brand new, still in the box. Never been mounted on anything. They've been taken out, but other than that, they are brand new, 100% work. And the entry for these is super easy. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. In the comment, just tell me a couple things. One, what you're going to put them on, and two, actually, you know what? That's it. Tell me what you're going to put them on, and on Monday, the 19th of April, which is 3 or 4 days away from when you guys will be seeing this video, I will go through, I'll read through all the comments, and I will select somebody completely at random. So again, no purchase necessary for anything. Just like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you plan on putting them on, and I'll pick somebody on Monday, and then I'll send you a private message. Whoever I pick, I'll send you a private message, and I'll ship them to you 100% free of cost. It'll be 100% on me, and you will have some Oracle rock lights for yourself. So I'll show you guys the kit, and I'll also leave a link to their website down in the description, so you guys can go check out their website and see what it is exactly that you might be getting. So here is the kit. All right, so here's the kit. So again, Oracle Lighting Technologies 8-piece Bluetooth rock light kit. So pretty self-explanatory. This does run off of Bluetooth, but it also can be ran off of a included controller here. So there's 4 long, 4. Here's the technical specs of all these bad boys here. So just to give you guys an idea, pretty good deal. And again, these are a few $100. I just ended up not using them on mine. All this stuff is still in package, still wrapped up, never been mounted. So there is the light itself. So super awesome. And then just quick connect plugs right here. Weather tight fittings. And these are the rubber grommets. Comes with 2 rubber grommets, or rubber mounts, excuse me, per light. You have one for a cage, and then you have one flat mount. That's more of a radius mount itself right there. But again, weatherproof, 100% waterproof. They're rock lights, so they kind of have to be, especially when they're in the wheel wells. Here is the control box for these. Oracle lighting, and then again, all the lights, it's just a power and a ground. All the lights hook up with these sealed, weather tight connectors. Super sweet. Really easy to set up. Not really a whole lot to it. Again, the only reason I'm not using them is because I don't have the room, and I don't feel like really messing with them. It's just not worth it for myself because of how long my truck is. Otherwise, they would definitely be on my truck. And then again, there is a switch deal here, so you can turn them on, off, change all your colors, change your modes. And then again, you can also get an app on your phone to do these via Bluetooth. So super awesome kit. Oracle lighting. Again, no affiliation with them whatsoever. Just thought they had a nice looking kit, ended up ordering it, ended up realizing it was a little bit too small, and decided that I would pass it on as a giveaway to one of you guys. So I think that's going to wrap up the video for today, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to be entered for a chance to win the Oracle lights, again, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you're going to put them on, and just tell me what you think. Otherwise, until next time, y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.